Hey guys, Dabu 7. We have word this morning of a U.S. Navy doomsday plane that took off and then vanished from radar. This is a Boeing E-6B Mercury. It departed an Air Naval Station in Maryland. It was last seen crossing into the Atlantic east of Virginia Beach, and this is per the public flight radars and the tracking systems out there. This happened about 8:30 this morning Eastern Time. This is one of just 16 specialized doomsday planes, and it serves as a command post, command and control hub for Strategic Command, the Secretary of War, and the President. It can be used to transmit orders to carry out nuclear strikes if necessary. The flight data showing that the aircraft followed a routine southeastern path over the Chesapeake Bay, skirting the Norfolk Naval Complex before heading offshore, and then going what I call dark. This is something that they often do if they're really trying to conduct a classified type of training mission, or if they suspect something's going on off of the coast. Now, these aircraft are part of Project Looking Glass. Okay, all together, the whole fleet. And again, they are used to transmit information back to the president and the commanders in case of nuclear war. So when you see these things starting to make a lot of moves, it's worth paying attention to. They made moves back in March. We covered that activity. But now they're going dark. And, some people out there thinking it might have went down. There are no emergency reports out there. So usually when this happens, they're out there communicating with submarines and other vessels that are out there in the waterway or conducting some kind of massive drill. So if that's not the case, then at some point they'll break the news that they have an aircraft down in the ocean. But depending on how and what and all the other details, it really looks like a potential training mission. But again, this doesn't happen every day. We got this doomsday plane vanishing over the Atlantic during a mystery mission here. And as I get more info, I'll update. Join me for the live.
Hoy decimos en Venezuela, no hay amenaza ni agresión que atemorice a nuestro pueblo, ni que nos tome por sorpresa. Nuestro pueblo se ha preparado con serenidad imperturbable para defender su patria, su suelo, sus mares, su cielo, listos y dispuestos a defender nuestros derechos como nación.
All of you are backbone of America, and you really are the backbone of America's air power. And in recent weeks, you've been working to deter Venezuelan drug traffickers, of which there are many. Of course, there aren't too many coming in by sea anymore, if you probably noticed that. From sending their poisons into the United States, where they kill hundreds of thousands of people a year. But we're going to take care of that situation. We're already doing a lot. We've almost stopped. It's about 85% stopped by sea. You probably noticed that. People aren't wanting to be delivering by sea. And we'll be starting to stop them by land also. The land is easier, but that's going to start very soon. We warn them, stop sending poison to our country.
Trump is saying land strikes in South America will begin soon. He said that while speaking to service members yesterday as tensions with Venezuela continue to rise. For months, the military has been attacking boats in the South and Central American seas. They've sunk dozens of boats and killed more than 80 people who the White House claimed were all smuggling drugs. The U.S. military has amassed more than a dozen warships and 15,000 troops in the region as part of what the Pentagon has branded Operation Southern Spear.
We're already doing a lot. We've almost stopped. It's about 85% stopped by sea. You probably noticed that. People aren't wanting to be delivering by sea, and we'll be starting to stop them by land also. The land is easier, but that's going to start very soon. We warn them, stop sending poison to our country.
CNN reports that the president did not specifically say those strikes would happen inside Venezuela, but he appeared to suggest
Mary
it.
Coleman. Finding vegetables could be a bit more difficult as Mexican farmers and truckers try to make a statement. They're blocking trucks from bringing foods into the U.S. just before our holiday weekend. 13 News reporter Catherine Patterson went down to the Nogales port of entry, where some semis are still waiting to cross, and has more tonight.
Mexican truckers and farmers are asking for two things: safer roadways and higher prices for their products. And until they can make a deal with the Mexican government, trucks are going to have a difficult time getting through this Nogales port of entry. Jaime Chamberlain knows everything that comes in and out of his Nogales warehouse, down to each vegetable in every box, especially as things get busy for the holidays.
It's always been a hectic week. You add this into it, and I'll tell you what, it's made for a very, very busy Monday morning.
A strike in Mexico over produce and product distribution has left multiple ports of entry at the U.S. blocked from letting in trucks, including at the Nogales border. By the end of the day today, this room was supposed to be filled with produce heading to grocery stores, but instead it lays empty as they wait for food to cross the border. So the leftover cucumbers and squash in the corners of the room are all they can send. This batch is headed to Chicago.
I mean, we've got product going all over the United States and Canada right now that have to get to holiday shoppers.
As talks begin in Mexico to get a deal for truckers and farmers, those businesses are fronting the bill in millions of dollars and the risk that food rots while it waits to cross.
But we didn't think it was going to get to our border. But, we have it. We're dealing with it.
Nogales Mayor Jorge Maldonado is in talks with U.S. Border Patrol, distributors, and the Mexican government to see when things may get back to normal, but there's only so much he can do on this side of the border.
We don't have the solution yet, but it keeps us in the loop.
This is only impacting the commercial port of entry here, so any travelers or residents who are crossing through shouldn't be dealing with any issues, just maybe a few additional delays. Reporting in Nogales, Catherine Patterson.
Well, in our border report, Mexico says it's deployed 600 soldiers to Chihuahua in the wake of a massacre at a private racetrack in the southern part of the state. According to the Chihuahua Attorney General, 7 men were shot to death after 2 rival cartels had an argument during a horse race at Carril Santa Teresa. The state police chief said Mexican Army troops and National Guard members have been deployed to the city and to highway checkpoints to discourage further violence and capture the assailants in both incidents.
En esencia, el desarrollo del país. La verdad, estamos muy entusiasmados. La supercomputadora Coatlicue, que va a iniciar su construcción el próximo año. Estamos definiendo la ubicación y va a permitir que México entre de lleno al uso de la inteligencia artificial y procesamiento de datos, que hoy no tenemos capacidad de hacerlo. 375,000 computadoras como las que se... Hoy con la inteligencia artificial puede ser muy útil, por ejemplo, para predicción de clima. Nosotros tenemos muchísima información que la computadora que tiene el Meteorológico Nacional pues no tiene la capacidad para procesarla más que en días, meses incluso.
President Donald Trump is saying land strikes in South America will begin soon. He said that while speaking to service members yesterday as tensions with Venezuela continue to rise. For months, the military has been attacking boats in the South and Central American seas. They've sunk dozens of boats and killed more than 80 people who the White House claimed were all smuggling drugs. The U.S. military has amassed more than a dozen warships and 15,000 troops in the region as part of what the Pentagon has branded Operation Southern Spear.
We're already doing a lot. we've almost stopped. It's about 85% stopped by sea. You probably noticed that. People aren't wanting to be delivering by sea. And we'll be starting to stop them by land also. The land is easier, but that's going to start very soon. We warned them, stop sending poison to our country.
CNN reports that the president did not specifically say those strikes would happen inside Venezuela, but he appeared to suggest it.
Are we barreling towards a naval war in the Arctic? Now, we even highlighted the warnings from Billy Meyer, who back in 1987 warned that war would be coming to Scandinavia and this area, and that the West will go to war with Russia over control of these shipping lanes, and even specifically talked about Russia moving troops in the Arkhangelsk region. And guess what? They have. So all of these things are now coming true. You can believe it or not. That's totally up to you. This was 1987. And it turns out in our 2023 prediction, it turns out it was right, because now the Trump administration is scrambling to play catch up to Russia and China. This week, Kristi Noem, the U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security, announced a defense and industrial cooperation pact with Canada and Finland called the Icebreaker Collaboration Effort. And the three nations will collaborate on building 11 new icebreaker ships over the coming years to bolster Arctic defense and sovereignty, basically trying to take control of this region, going head-to-head now against Russia and China. Listen to Kristi Noem.
Today is a major milestone in the race to secure the Arctic for all of our countries. The Arctic is the West's most wide tier, and our adversaries are racing to claim its strategic position and its rich natural resources for their own.
What most people don't know, because Russia doesn't really talk about it, is what Russia is doing in the Arctic. You've heard all about China's Belt and Road Initiative, which creates shipping lanes, rail infrastructure, trade routes all through Asia, Middle East, Indochina. But you might not have heard about Russia's Arctic Road Initiative, which is basically the same thing, removing dependence on the Suez Canal, the Panama Canal, that the United States has a major hand in, of course, and no more, and creating massive movable infrastructure controlled by Russia. Think about, instead of, there's no land there, of course, but imagine the, almost like having virtual land moving through this entire area. And that's what Russia is doing right now. This new trade route, which would control trade between the East and the West, the North and the South, doesn't rely on the Suez Canal or the Panama Canal, and it can take upwards of months for deliveries if you have to rely on those trade routes. You could shave months off of all of these trade routes by just using the Arctic. Russia is in the lead right now to add this area to its already massive mineral resources, and the U.S. is way behind.
What I can tell you is the United States is behind. We're behind all the other Arctic nations. They have dealt with this. They've gotten way ahead of us. The Russians made it a strategic priority. Even the Chinese are building ice-breaking tankers. Now, why are they building icebreakers? They're not an Arctic nation because they see the value of these passages.
Footage has emerged on Thursday evening from Jenin, which is a frequent flashpoint between Israeli forces and various Palestinian groups. You can see that there are Israeli uniformed troops closing in on what looks like a storage facility. They eventually breach this door using a mechanical digger. The two men who come out, they raise their shirts showing they're unarmed, and one border police officer in particular seems to take control, who doesn't wear a helmet. You can see he's bald-headed and has a beard, and he kicks both of them in the stomach. And then he pushes them and orders them back in the direction they came from, towards the door. And at the moment they reach it, they are shot by the border police officers who are right there on the spot. There's a long history of impunity for both the IDF and the border police here, built up over decades and decades. And it's very, very rare to see any disciplinary action, vanishingly rare to see any kind of legal accountability. For a country that's used to extrajudicial killings, this one has cut through because of the graphic and clear nature of the video evidence.
در این جنگ 12 روزه آمریکا به شدت ضرر کرد. به شدت ضرر کرد. آخرین تسلیحات و پیشرفته ترین تسلیحات رو در آفند و پدافند به کار برد. از زیردریایی هاش استفاده کرد، از هواپیماهای جنگندش استفاده کرد، از پیشرفته ترین پدافندش استفاده کرد، اما نتوانست به اون چی که میخواهد به او برسه. او میخواست ملت ایران رو فریب بده، ملت ایران رو به دنبال خودش بکشه. قضیه به عکس شد. همونطور که گفتم ملت ایران اتحادشون در مقابل آمریکا بیشتر شد و توانستن به معنای واقعی کلمه طرف رو ناکام کنند. اما مسائل منطقه که شما هر روز اخبار اونها رو، بخشی از اخبار اونها رو در تلویزیون ها میشنوید و میبینید، دو سه نکته درباره این مسائل عرض بکنم. نکته اول این است که ما در جنگ 12 روزه ملت ایران هم آمریکا رو شکست داد، هم صهیونیست ها رو شکست داد. بدون تردید آمدن، شرارت کردن، کتک خوردن و دست خالی برگشتن. این شکست به معنای واقعی کلمه اینه. بله، شرارت کردن، یعنی اما دست خالی برگشتن، یعنی به هیچ کدام از هدفهای خودشون نرسیدن. بنا به قولی رژیم صهیونی 20 سال برای این جنگ برنامه ریزی و آماده سازی کرده بود. بعضی اینجور نقل کردن 20 سال برنامه ریزی برای اینکه یک جنگی در ایران رخ بده و مردم تحریک بشن و با اونها همراهی کنن، با نظام بجنگن. برای این برنامه ریزی شده بود. دست خالی برگشتن، قضیه به عکس شد و ناکام شدن و حتی کسانی که با نظام زاویه هم داشتن در کنار نظام قرار گرفتن. یک اتحاد عمومی در کشور به وجود آمد که باید این رو قدر دانست و نگه داشت.
Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopefully elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and wherever you may be. Wherever you may be, to I say Shalom, Shalom. This is Matthew 24:6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. All right, wars and rumors. Let's get this word for rumors. All right. Echo, not sure. Hearing the act, sense of the thing heard, audience, ear, fame. Yeah, pretty sure rumors. Matter of fact, give me a second. All right, so the sense of hearing, the organ of hearing, the ear, thing heard. Okay, so hearsay, report. That's what we're doing. We're reporting. All right. So yeah, and ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. Okay. It says, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Okay. So all these things are the beginning of what's to come. All right. Mainly, we look for our Lord to come. That's lucky. So yeah, we look for these things to happen because these things mark the return of our Lord. Okay. And so when we see these things, to the best of our ability, we report on them. All right. So matter of fact, let me read it again, but I want to read in Luke because I think Luke is slightly worded a different way. Is it 21? Luke 21. And let's see where it is. Yep, but when ye shall hear wars and commotions, to get the word for commotions. All right. Instability. Okay, we can see instability in several countries all over the planet. You got protests happening all over the planet. Hell, we just deal with Babylon the Great alone. There's a lot of instability here in the core of this place. Okay, look, a state of disorder, which is what we're moving to. All right. Towards Jacob's trouble. Eventually, we're going to see martial law and things of that nature. Right. Instability, a state of disorder. Look, I always say that confusion, right? Disturbance, confusion. You see, disorder, commotion, confusion. Look, tumult. Okay. The enemies make a tumult. Unstable, inconstant. Look, restless. Beautiful, because the scriptures say that the love of many shall wax cold. All right. Iniquity shall abound. Okay. So bam, let's go back. Beautiful. I'm glad we read that. The water got much more shot. But when you shall hear wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Okay. Then said he, no things to come unto them. A nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, in different places, which we see, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. All right, let's see what fearful sights say. Phobotron. Sounds like a robot. That which strikes terror, a terror, cause of or fright. Okay, a frightening thing. An example: terrific, portent, or fearful sight. But before, I'll stop right there. Okay, so we got that, what we needed. You see, and so what you hear about right now, according to the news that we have here, another world news with commentary. You got talks of Iran, which let's go over there. State of Israel and Iran kind of seemingly to be kicking up again. Okay, we're not sure how far it's going to go until it really unfolds. Right, but Iran is important to end time prophecy. We'll start at verse 4, Ezekiel 38:4. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. And who is it talking about here? This is talking about the bear. It's talking about Russia, Putin and the gang, okay? It speaks about them up above, Gog, Magog. It's talking about Russia, okay? Then it goes on to say Persia, the modern day Persians are the Iranians, okay? Now the scripture speak about how the least of the flock shall draw them out. Well, who's the least of the flock? The least of the flock are talking about the Amalekites, who you know today, this Jewish people, all right? Those that live in the state of Israel, okay? Yeah, those people go back to the nation of people on this planet known as Edomites of the Bible, and the Amalekites are just one of the branch houses, all right, one of the chief houses, the Amalekites. Okay, and so they had what was called the 12-day war. Okay, which that was earlier, not too far back. And now you have supposedly another attack. So things may escalate. Now, another thing I want to point out, the reason why I'm mentioning least of flocks, draw them out, and so on and so forth, because we got a lot of different things and little moving pieces here. Because I saw another article, or not, well, I guess it is article, because news clips are articles too, but where supposedly, all right, we can't say for sure, but supposedly Iran made a threat to U.S. about, Venezuela, and which also ties into what, another one of these wars and rumors of wars, okay, that America, by the words of Trump, that he is, almost ready to start doing, a land defense, okay, against Venezuela, okay. So there's a lot of, moving parts here, a lot of things going on, but that's scriptural though, right? It's according to prophecy, okay. You shall have wars and rumors of wars. That's why the scriptures tell you, seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read, none one of these shall fail. Meaning the prophecies, none shall want her make, because no other book prophesies. Because no other book can prophesy, because the words of the Bible are the words of the living power Yahweh. Okay? So these are his words. Okay? And the other gods don't exist. All right? The gods of the nations are idols. So it's impossible for them to prophesy in any book, no matter how many books they write. There's not going to be prophecies in it unless they stole it from the Bible. Okay? But yeah, Persia, but the modern day Iranians, okay, Ethiopia and Libya, both in Africa, all right, the northern sectors of Africa, like northeast, okay, which you have Africa country that's aligned with the BRICS, South Africa, okay, who I talked about the other day. Trump was trying to block from next year's G20 summit. And there's so many things going on, man. Yeah, there was a good little clip I had in here from Redacted. Yeah, because that's something to talk about how, because beautiful, because when you talk about, I guess you could sum the word up as economy or whatever. But anyways, these nations that have been working around America, with these nations being the BRICS coalition, trying to work around the American dollar. And he was talking about the, building icebreakers, all right, for the Arctic. And China, has, just like we talk about all the time, the Belt and Roads Initiative. They have a major initiative similar to that. It might be even stemmed off of that, but to create these icebreakers, so they have a shorter trade route. Okay, so they basically, in every area you look, they're finding ways around America and trying to find ways around the American dollar. And of course, America doesn't like that. Of course, America's not going to go for that. See, they're not going to allow another country to become the reserve currency. No, things are going to go digital. All right. And everything will flow directly through the banking families. But let's finish reading this. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them. All of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands. They also Togomar of the north quarters, all right, around Turkey, Azerbaijan, what's the other ones over there? Georgia, Armenia, that area there. Okay. And all his bands and many people with thee. Many people being what? Other, especially when you just deal with the BRICS, the core members, all right? Of course, we've been talking about Russia here. We just talked about China. So you have Brazil, India, all right? And we also just talked about South Africa. Then you have other countries who have actually joined, and they're known as the plus members, BRICS plus. But then you have more who also sign up, and they're just waiting to see if they'll be accepted or not. These are all these people that it's talked about that have standing fighting armies. They join up, and as I said, up above, I think it's up above. All right, there'd be a guard unto them. I think we did read it. If not, it's somewhere in here. Okay, but yeah, it talks about Russia to be a guard unto these nations. They're the main ones who are going to be the biggest fight against America, the state of Israel, or whatever else. Okay, because they do have their side, but eventually their side, and the NATO EU, they're going to turn against them, as the prophecy say in Revelation 17. All right, and it just literally says it. Nuclear missiles are in the Bible. Burn her, eat her flesh with fire. Just roughly paraphrasing what it says there. Well, what does that mean? Cook them in the oven? It's not what it's talking about. Okay, it's talking about nuclear missile, nuclear destruction to destroy Babylon the Great, man, and call her Allah Yahweh Shemot Shah. Okay, this is the last place of our captivity. No more. Okay, not just Babylon, no more anywhere. Okay, but let's keep going. Oh, here it is. Yep. So be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company. Okay, it's talking about Russia and these join up with them that are assembled unto thee. You see, and be thou a guard unto them. Let's get the word for guard. All right, mashmar. All right. Place of confinement. Well, it says prison, guard, jail, guard post, watch, observance. All right, guard house, guard post, act of guarding. Okay, so be that backbone. Shamar, I believe, means to watch. Yeah, guard, observe, give heed to keep. Yep, watchman, observe. Yep. So be there prepared and prepare for thyself, thou, meaning Russia, and all thy company. Okay, your men that are assembled unto thee, and all the other nations as well, not to forget them, and be thou a guard unto them. Okay, and there you go, and this is what we see happening right now on the world stage. Okay, America talking about attacking Venezuela. Ukraine is, damn near fully taking over Ukraine. Did I say Ukraine twice? Russia, damn near fully taking over Ukraine. But they're stirring up noise with the who is it? Is it the UN or no, NATO? They're stirring up noise with NATO. You had a Poland situation. All right. You got North Korea, talking about they want South Korea. You got China, all right, which in that situation, you had America and Japan sticking their business in the South Korean business. So that made North Korea run up to Russia in the game. You had China that wants Taiwan. And now you have Japan, all right, speaking out against China. And China saying that, hey, they're going to pay a terrible price if you come up in my business, all right? Because I believe this goes all the way back to Biden. Biden had a meeting with China about Taiwan, and he was like, oh, yeah, we understand, Yeah, that's what he was saying at the meeting. But then when he got back home, you still act as if you're against, what we're doing here, as if we didn't have a meeting, we shook hands. But these countries are not playing, all right? Anybody, but we talk about China for the moment. China's not playing about taking back Taiwan, okay? And so America's everybody in everybody's business. I mean, everywhere in everybody's business. And you got Japan, all right, talking about all this and that and the third thing. And that's not going to fly over well with China. Russia, Ukraine, North Korea, South Korea, America, Venezuela, okay, State of Israel, all right, bombing Iran, bombing the Houthis, West Bank, Gaza, all wars and rumors of wars. And all right, it's all leading up to this third war. As a matter of fact, because there's a couple more scriptures we probably could get. But let's get, what's the best one to end it on? I want to go to Joel 3. Yeah, let's get that. Let's get Joel. Because I was actually going to get a couple from, I believe they were both in Revelation. But, yeah, let's just do Joel 3. All right, because we can sum it all up with this, okay? Joel 3 and 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, these heathen nations. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, like we were just reading in Ezekiel 38. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Be your plowshares into swords, your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Because everybody's building up, new kinds of missiles and offensive technologies, defensive capabilities, things of that nature. We talked about Russia with the nuclear radiation torpedo. Russia also has the missile. I forget the name of the missile. The missile that can stay up in the air for extended periods of time and just come out of nowhere and just start bombing. Okay, you got China that showcased their arsenal. Their Gen class submarines. I think the 96 and the 90 something, the 95, 96. But the Gen class submarines where they can launch nuclear strikes from submarines in their waters. So their launches are not contested by any enemy nations. Come on, man. Hey, it's all leading up to World War III, but more importantly, it's all leading up to the destruction of Babylon the Great. Okay? It says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, because this man is about to be taken out of power, which that's what just everybody needs, not just us Israelites, because we need it more than anybody else, because we're the ones who need help, but just this man in power in general. Everybody needs this man to be taken out of power, man. But what the other nations don't understand is they're going to be taken out of their positions of power as well, man. See, but the main one in the main power seat, okay, in the throne right now, that's Esau. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Did the cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Yahweh? Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. He's going to judge them with war, okay? Destruction. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. All right, it's getting that time. That's why you see things slowly amping up. All things move on the Lord's time, man. He says that in Esdras, okay? Maybe we'll read that today, later on at camp. All right, but he do not move to the said measure be fulfilled, okay? It says, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord Yahweh Shai is near in the valley of decision. Then it goes on to talk about what the sun shall be darkened, because it's talking about the missiles flying. Okay, this is what it's all leading up to World War III, and ultimately missiles are going to fly in World War III to prompt the destruction of Babylon the Great. Now there may be other places that will get hit from counter strikes, but that remains to be seen. But we know for a fact, without a shadow of a doubt, America will be destroyed by nuclear missiles and will be wiped off the face of the earth. and it's going to be a place for desert creatures. All right. I'm gonna end with that one. It says he's going to stretch upon the line of confusion. There it is right there. I just saw it. Line of confusion, Isaiah 34:11. But the cormorant and the bittern shall possess it, meaning Babylon the Great, the lands, the owl also, and the raven shall dwell in it, and he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness. All right, all praise, honor, and glory to your power, Yahweh Shema Shai. That's it for this World News with Commentary. Lord, will you edify? Shalom.
Shocking claim from Iran, and it could change everything about Israel's next war. You're watching Times XP. I am Dhriti Yatri, and for days everybody believed that Lebanon would strike back, that Hezbollah would avenge the killing of its top military commander. But now a powerful voice inside Iran has said something really far more dramatic. Not Lebanon, Iran itself will respond, and this could mark the beginning of the end for Israel. That's what they said. Well, the warning comes from a man who doesn't just speak lightly. Mohsen Rezaei, the former IRGC commander, former vice president and one of Iran's most influential military strategists, he made a statement that has stunned the entire region. He said Israel's targeted assassinations, they are not weakening the resistance here, they are strengthening it. Not breaking morale, but uniting the entire region. He spoke at a memorial in Kerman and it dropped a political bomb. He said that the killing of senior figure, including Hezbollah's powerful military chief, Haytham Tabatabai, killed in that dramatic Israeli strike in Beirut, will only increase determination across the Middle East. He said Israel is not eliminating the threats here. Israel is escalating its own strategic decline. Bold, provocative, and deeply alarming for Israel. In the meantime, he said that Israel is digging its own grave. That's right, such bold words. He said every assassination, every targeted strike, every covert operation is now destroying the resistance here. It is multiplied, it is intensified, it is energized. Well, his message was very simple. Israel's action will come back to haunt it, and the response will be bigger than Tel Aviv actually expects. Iran's message, this is our fight too. In the meantime, Lebanese media has been buzzing for days with talks of retaliation here, but Iran's voice now overshadows all of that. Iran says that Israel is provoking a nationwide conflict, not a Lebanon conflict, not a Hezbollah conflict, but a greater Middle East confrontation. And if Iran steps in directly, the battlefield changes everything, and that too forever. Here, he framed the assassination not as Israeli victories, but as a martyr fueling a larger war. That's right. He said that fallen commanders become symbols, symbols become moments, and moments become unstoppable force. Let me quote what he said. Israel thinks it is delaying war, but Israel is only delaying itself. Now, let's talk about Israel's strike here. Israeli officials, they insist that the Beirut operation was a precision hit on key architect of Hezbollah's military network. Well, here Israel believes eliminating these leaders is very, very important, essential to prevent attacks, essential to protect the north, essential for deterrence. But Iran is framing it very differently, as the final spark before a wider blaze. So the question now is very terrifying but very simple. Will retaliation come from Lebanon? Or will retaliation come from Iran itself? Because if Iran steps forward, the war that begins will not resemble anything the Middle East has ever seen in decades. The Middle East is on the edge tonight. Tensions are spiking and Iran has issued one of its most terrifying threats yet. You're watching Times XP. I am Dhriti Yatri, and the spark, Israel's deadly strike in Beirut, the one that killed senior Hezbollah commander Haytham Ali Tabatabai, a man Tehran considered very important to its regional strategy. The moment news of this death it reached Tehran, Iran's tone, it completely changed, and it changed dramatically. Iran's parliament speaker Mohammad Bagher, he took the stage and he unleashed a pure fury. His words, they were not diplomatic this time, not measured, not questioned. He accused Israel of criminal activities across borders. He said Israel has crossed every red line here, and then came the line that shook the entire region. Israel's aggressive hand must be cut off from the Middle East. This wasn't a warning, this was a threat, bold, direct, and chilling. Perhaps a message meant not just for Israel, but for the US too, for Riyadh too, and for every single capital who is watching the entire region burn. In the meantime, in Beirut, Hezbollah is raging. Its leaders say that the assassination is an act of war, a deliberate escalation, a strike that demands a serious response. They are calling Tabatabai killing a red line. And Hezbollah does not use that phrase lightly. So, what happens now? That is the question that is sending shockwaves across the Middle East. Israel is on high alert. Iran's proxies are mobilizing the skies over Lebanon and Gaza. They are tensed, they are unpredictable, and analysts fear the worst thing: retaliation, escalation, and a spiral that could drag the entire region into a full-scale war. This is more than just a battlefield death. This is a geopolitical earthquake, one that could redraw borders, shift the alliances, and ignite a conflict far bigger than Gaza and Lebanon. Iran is angry, Hezbollah is preparing, Israel is waiting, and the entire Middle East is holding its breath. A dangerous threat, a region on the edge, and a conflict that could explode any moment from now.